Disclaimer: this video is fully protected under the fair use doctrine of US copyright laws. It does not contain any content that I do not personally own. This video will never provide any functional downloads or links for obtaining this build. All information present is publicly accessible and complies with the terms and conditions of the Stress Level 0, Bonelab, and Lava Gang Discord servers. Additionally, this video fully adheres to the Boneworks privacy policies and does not promote piracy in any form. Thank you for your understanding. There is a lost version of Boneworks that almost nobody has, but I do. Before we dive into this build, let's just go over its history. On January 27, 2020, Stress Level 0 released an experimental version of Boneworks 1.4. The goal was to let the public test the game after some changes and to gather feedback on what still needed tweaking. Alex Knoll informed the Stress Level 0 server about the experimental version by sending a few messages, one of which included the password for accessing it. Back up your save. The reason for this was the version could potentially break your save file, so they advised players to back up their data. And shortly after, they closed the branch entirely as they had gathered enough feedback from the community. So the branch was entirely closed and non-accessible, so that way they could finish their update. The branch sat for years until, eventually, someone who I'll keep anonymous out of respect, left the Stress Level 0 community due to mistreatment. In a Google Doc, they left messages for everyone, along with a mega link to download their backup of the experimental version of 1.4, along with a few other links to YouTube videos. These links will remain private out of respect for that individual. After all this time, it made its way to me. In this video, I'll be sharing some of the major changes in this version of the game and showing you some hidden parts of Boneworks history. So let's get right into the game. Foveated rendering. In this build, foveated rendering is forced on all the time. It's only active in most levels if you're looking directly at the spawn or within 15 freedom feet, or for you other nations, 15 meters. But this really messes with your eyes, as an object that's only about 5 feet away, it looks like it's 40. And when I'm playing a game, I don't want an object 5 feet away from me extremely pixelated. So this really just breaks the immersion of Boneworks in general. P350. The P350 in this version feels lighter and less powerful compared to the current build. This is likely because the P350 was still in work in progress, and during this time it wasn't fully tuned yet. Here's it shooting in the current version, and here's it shooting in 1.4 experimental. See the difference? I do. And I felt a difference. The Sandbox Jukebox. The Jukebox, a feature seen in 1.4 official release and later builds, is entirely missing from this experimental version. P350 and Sandbox. The P350 is not available in any of the Sandbox maps besides the handgun range. That is mostly because they were designed hand in hand, or at the same time. Handgun range. If you visit handgun range in 1.4 experimental, you'll notice fewer props. Some walls are also laid out differently compared to later versions, and at the end of the range, you'll also find wooden cutouts of nobodies, and curiously, there are also some placed down range. Physics. The physics in this version feel quite different from 1.3 and 1.4 release. This is likely because they were still tweaking physics in between, and this version represents one of the first janky iterations. Now, let's talk about major additions that were included in Boneworks 1.4 release or the current release. The OG Boneworks V2 headcrab. This version includes the original headcrab from the Boneworks V2 video, though its scripts are broken and the mesh is detached from the physics rig. However, animations, scripts, and rigs are still there and present. There's evidence that suggests that the headcrab was originally controlled using a WASD system, as in your keyboard. So with these scripts, it appears as though a person was controlling the headcrab at the time in the game's development. Additionally, this headcrab was actually meant to be a surprise to Valve when they opened the Boneworks V-Slice. M4 Shotgun. Another interesting feature is the M4 Shotgun, which is present in this build but sadly has all broken functionalities.
The killer clown, pull up, run a fade, and now I might just have to kill a clown. Edwards wanna get pop, try the newest pop rocks. I might have to pop shots on in the merry-go-round. hear a sound, look around.